Yep.
Yeah.
Rose fans, Joe Rossano's Orioles report with the brilliant Michael Sullivan. We're going to be talking about overall play for the Orioles. We're talking about starting pitching, the bullpen, the hitting, the defense, the base running, the acumen, and what the organization can do to fix things, as the Orioles obviously going to be playing for a wild card spot. So you're going to love that. Joe Rossano's Orioles report with the brilliant Michael Sullivan is next. Welcome to Joe Rossano's Orioles report, as always, with the brilliant Michael Sullivan. Yesterday, Michael, as you know, Trevor Rogers back on the mound. Now I guess we could give him a pass coming back from an illness. Again, his ERA well above 5 now. Kyle Bradish has struggled. Shane Baz has struggled. God bless him. Chris Bassitt has not pitched that poorly at all, especially the past few weeks. I'm very happy to see that. And then we have to either depend on a Brandon Young, a recently injured Cade Povich, among whoever else they can pluck out of the minor leagues. A Trey Gibson can make a spot start, which is obviously with Zach Eflin being down, with Dean Kramer being down, not something that any of us saw in, let's say, February. What would you say could possibly be the fix, Michael Sullivan?
I'm going to tell you what, the first thing I'm going to talk about, Joe, is that today I have chosen not to wear an Orioles shirt or top because I'm wearing the top of a winning organization, James Madison University, right? It's football, it's sport, and it doesn't matter who the coach is, Kurt Signetti, Rob Chesney, they just keep winning. And it's not irrelevant because both of those coaches created a culture of winning, a culture of performance, a culture of accountability. And I think almost everybody would say right now, the Orioles don't have that. I don't think they do, right? So that's like, big picture, something that is such a discussion. As far as the starting pitching goes, it's like, Joe, I guess I have to be excited today because the guy with their second best ERA in the starting rotation is pitching, and that's Kyle Bradish, who's the 4.83 ERA, and he's second to Brandon Young, who has a 4.15 ERA. And I think we all knew, if that's what we were going to be saying in the middle of May, that this team was in a precarious place. I was going to say trouble, but that's your word. They're in a precarious place. And, if some guys on this pitching rotation don't at least start to perform near where we expected them to, that's going to be difficult. I will say Chris Bassitt, he was okay his last time out. And as a matter of fact, over his last 3 starts, he's pitched 17 innings and given up 6 runs. That's a 3.2 ERA. Chris Bassitt does that the rest of the season. That'd be awesome.
That'd be beautiful.
Yeah, it'd be beautiful. So I don't know. Maybe Bradish gets on track today. I was happy to hear Rogers after the game last night. He still sounds confident, right? And I think for him, it is a very mental thing. So hearing him still sound confident is good. So, I remain hopeful about him and Rogers. And as I said, recent performance for Bassitt. Brandon Young has pitched okay. But gosh, can we just see them string some together?
Well, let me say this, okay? I think what you said is relevant, especially when it comes to a culture. Because let me give you an example. The New York Yankees are a very good example of this, okay? Now, Pam Schlittler, Will Warren, right? I thought that they were a duo that played up the street in the bars.
Schlittler and Warren, happy hour down.
Schlittler and Warren, happy hour now. I am looking for a stat here. Cam Schlittler and Will Warren are tied for sixth in Major League Baseball in strikeouts with 59. Okay. Cam Schlittler, 5-1, 1.35 ERA. Will Warren, 5-1, 3.42 ERA. Now, my question is this. I think about this. The Orioles had really good high draft picks, meaning that their record was so poor during the rebuild that they got high number one, high in the draft in the first round. The Adley Rutschmans, the Colton Cowsers, Heston Kjerstads, etc. Now, the Yankees, on the other hand, I'm not saying they win the division every season, but they win enough.
Yeah.
You don't see the Yankees under 500. So, they got the 25th pick or the 37th pick. Cam Schlittler, Will Warren. Where do they get these fellas? Ben Rice, MVP numbers this season. What I don't understand is where did how did they develop these guys so well? And then you got this Elmer, I think his name's Elmer Rodriguez. I'm almost positive that it is. He is a quality starting pitcher coming through their system. And they just had Jones called up. By golly, he was leading the planet Earth in the minor leagues in hitting. Considering their draft positions, etc., how do they make these guys that good?
Well, Joe, the draft is Major League Baseball draft is a crapshoot, right? I don't care what anybody says.
Course.
And if you want, if you want to talk draft, I find it hard. Yeah, we can. I don't know. Vance Honeycutt was a bad first round pick so far, by all measures. But if you want to look at, Elias's draft track record, it's been quite good because the guys at the top have soared through the minor leagues, and that's not an understatement. These guys performed, right? Gunnar performed, Jackson performed, Adley performed, Colton performed, Kjerstad performed in the minor leagues, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Westberg, who was just outside of the first round, or was like one of those sandwich picks at the end of the first round. They all performed, right? So Rutschman was an all-star. Henderson was an all-star. Westberg was an all-star. Cowser was nearly the rookie of the year. I mean, we've been through this, but Kjerstad's derailed by injuries, and Holiday remains a question mark, but I think you and I agree he's still going to be a great Major League Baseball player. So, getting that many right is an impressive feat. What's happening now, I can't understand it. I can't understand the performance of guys who already performed at the major league level, and now they stink.
That's a shame.
Well, it is a shame, and I don't know what to attribute it to. And people are like, fire the pitching coach, fire the hitting coach, right? Whatever. But these guys should be beyond that, and it's just baffling that they're not. I mean, I think I said this last week, but it's true that this team, 6 of the 9 guys, we could say 5 because I'm going to include Mayo, which is 6, but he's only playing because one of the 5 is injured. So 6 of the 9 guys that they would have counted on in their lineup, 2 of them haven't played a game, and the other 4, Alonso, Henderson, O'Neill, Cowser, and Mayo, so 5, are hitting collectively 191.
Can't believe it.
It's astonishing. And so when I see people say, send them down, move them, sit them down, what are you left with?
Exactly. Thank you. And that's why I've never been that guy. I don't say send him down because, and then bring who up.
We're going to
David
start.
Justice isn't in our minor leagues right now.
Oh.
We don't have a Mariano Rivera coming up.
I mean,
So,
literally what we would have to do is you'd have Rutschman and Basayo, but you can't play them every day. I know everybody thinks you can, but you can't. Rutschman and Basayo, and then, I don't know, an infield that looks like Blaze Alexander, Jeremiah Jackson, and Weston Wilson every day. Or Juan Encarnacion, whatever the heck his name is, and an outfield that's just going to Strand. And then an outfield that's just going to be Ward. And it could be Ward Beavers and I guess an overmatched Enrique Bradfield. So, but that's going to be your starting lineup. Come on, man. It's not realistic. Like, they actually have no other choice but to try to get these guys on track.
Thank you, because that's the only thing they can do. Now, between the two of us, when it comes to Orioles baseball anyway, I'm not the positive one. You know that. I'm the go to hell guy, right? Here's some positives. I'm really going to try my best to do this.
Stretch.
When you watch baseball in April and May, sometimes the Orioles will sweep, let's just say, the Toronto Blue Jays, 4 games, right? And then they'll play them again in July, and the Blue Jays look like a completely different team.
Yeah.
Okay? Completely different team. Now, if you think about it, okay, what baseball follows a lot of laws, the laws of probability, the laws of physics, the theories of relativity.
Thanks, Einstein.
These batting averages will go up. It can't, there is nowhere else to go but up. The ERAs for the Kyle Bradishes and the Trevor Rogers will come down.
I agree with you.
So here is what I think the fix needs to be. Don't worry about the offense. Pete Alonso will have 30 home runs in late September. Gunnar Henderson will have 26 home runs in late September. Taylor Ward will hit some home runs in bunches, and by the time it's September the 21st, he will have the 25, 26 home runs, 94 driven in like he was supposed to. So we have to write the starting pitching. We have to see between now and my barometer of 15 June, we have to see more quality starts from the guys that we are supposed to get the quality starts from, and that is Rogers, Bradish, and Boz. If those 3 guys at the same time, like Schlittler, Warren, and Fried, and even Weathers, then you will see this team play much better baseball. A lot of it's mental. When Jim Palmer pitched, the Brooks Robinsons, the Mark Belangers, the Davy Johnsons, etc., they were confident that our big horse is on the mound today. That does a lot for somebody mentally. And when you see your big dogs, your bulldogs struggle, you get to a point where you think you have to do too much. And that is what I think is wrong with the offense. Mike Bordick was absolutely correct. Gunnar Henderson is trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark every swing, including 2 strikes. Pete Alonso got a big contract. He feels like he's got to carry the team, right? And then you have Coby Mayo. He's terrified that he's going to get sent down. And I can't imagine what's going through Cowser's head, on top of the world. And now, if it wasn't for Dylan Beavers having some discomfort, he's back on the bench and has been on the bench. So, yeah, I mean, the fix is if you fix the starting pitching, you fix the entire team. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong. And, you know, I mean, it's really not anything different than what we said at the beginning of the season, Joe, that they need Rogers to be, again, not an ace, not to pitch like he did like Bob Gibson, like he did last year. They need him to be a guy who pitches to a 3.25, 3.5 ERA and give you 6 innings, right? That's what they need him to be. They don't need him to be Jim Palmer and go out there and pitch. God, I hate it when there were people critical of Brandon Young the other day for pitching 5.1 innings and giving up 2 runs. Hey, man, in Major League Baseball today, that's better than a quality start.
I'll tell you, that's a no-hitter.
Basically, it's the equivalent of it. He's not going to pitch 20 complete games in 300 innings, which I grew up watching guys do. So, they need Bradish and Rogers to be some semblance of who they expected them to be, just to be
and what they
starters
should be.
Yeah, just go out and pitch to a 3.25, 3.5 ERA and
Thank
two out
you.
of 2 out of 3 times pitch 6 innings. That's it. That's all that's required anymore. Like if you do
That's
that,
right.
now people think you're a great pitcher, which I think is absolute garbage, but that's baseball today. And if they do that, and look, if Bassitt pitches the way he has the last 3 times out, and if Boz could just get some semblance of consistency and maybe do the same thing, just pitch to a sub-4 ERA and give you 6 innings,
Mhm.
right? And look,
Yes.
Brandon Young's got a 4.15 ERA. If that's the guy you got to run out there, fine. If Kramer comes back, fine. But you basically just need guys to go out there and God, it's like so painful to even say. You just need them to go out there and pitch to a sub-4 ERA and give you 6 innings. And that should be something that even these guys are capable of doing. And, so hopefully that happens. And I don't want to be the guy who's like, just wait till next year. There are a bunch. Trey Gibson was the first example, but they got guys at AAA who are very good starting pitching prospects. And, so there is help in the way. Some of that help might be available before the end of the year. And so if these guys could just get to mediocrity and if the bats could just play to somewhere near their historic experience, they would be like absolutely in the thick of the playoff race for this entire season. That's all it takes. It doesn't take some
You got to
major
remember,
dramatic.
there's a second half coming up here in July. That seems like and I got to tell you, there are teams who were 500 going into the All-Star break last season. The Cleveland Guardians came out of nowhere and were able to make it to the postseason. So again, let's hope Bradish starts today and does well, et cetera, et cetera. And then, we'll see if there is a domino effect. I'm going to give Trevor Rogers a pass last night, but our top 3 starting pitchers have got to perform better to the mediocrity that you talked about, a sub-4 ERA. The bats will come around and say a prayer that your pal Joe Rossano was right for once.
Well, last thing I'll say, we can wrap it up. It's like,
Yep.
I'm not suggesting that mediocrity is the goal, but, and I don't,
Right.
you're not either, but
Yeah, it's better than
mediocrity,
substandard.
right? But just mediocrity from the pitching staff right now, and just a return to just near the level of performance that a lot of these batters have done. And that makes you competitive in the American League. Now, I'm not saying that gets you a World Series or a playoff series win, but it could put you in a position to have the opportunity. And right now, I think that's, that's what we have to hope for. Of course, what they say, hope is not a strategy. And right now, that's kind of the only strategy left to the Orioles is hope.
Amen to that. So let's say a couple of things here, Michael. Number one, how much we do appreciate all you nice folks checking out Joe Rossano's Orioles Report with the handsome Matt Faulkner, the brilliant Michael Sullivan. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, share, click the notification bell for all the latest episodes. Joe Rossano's Orioles Report with the brilliant Michael Sullivan. Again, the handsome Matt Faulkner. Please comment because we're here every Friday, 1 p.m. live for Birdland Mailbag with Joe Rossano, with the occasional Michael Sullivan. They love Michael Sullivan out there. They love him. As always, those fans, please take a moment to get out there, adopt yourself a pet. God bless you, those fans, and we will see you next time.